On this episode of Trailer Park Turnaround, we're in contract on a portfolio of 7 mobile home parks, and we're going on site to do our due diligence to make sure that the numbers line up. But when we get there, we find out the lot count is off, and we're going to meet with county officials to infill those communities to make sure that we still have a deal or if we should walk away. Stay tuned next on Trailer Park Turnaround. This is the journey of 2 real estate investors from Staten Island, New York, who travel the country looking for mismanaged, undercapitalized, and run-down trailer parks.
We invest capital and our time to turn these parks around and make our communities better.
These are our stories. We are 4:01. We are set to go to the airport. We have a 6 o'clock flight because at 2 o'clock we have a meeting with Community Development and Health Department in a town in Georgia in which we're in contract on the property. And then we have to check out some communities which we're doing due diligence on. We really just wanted to make the breakfast special at Homegrown in Georgia.
Guys, remember, investing in real estate, there's a few different things you need to know. It's either 1, you're going to do all the work yourself, or 2, you're going to have to partner with somebody that's going to do the work for you. For us, our properties are out of state. Properties are out of state, even though we have boots on the ground, you have to get on a plane, get in the car, do what you have to do, get down there. And you got to be willing to travel. It's not just about picking up the phone, calling your property manager. It's about you organizing your life, sacrificing some of the time that you have with your family. Right now it's 4 o'clock in the morning. We're heading down to Georgia. We're going to be down there for about 4 days, looking at multiple properties, checking out some of the jobs that we already have going on the ground. It's exciting, but it's also a lot of work.
I brought a special book for this. No, that's you.
Lucky you.
Well, what's up? Let me pull over. Somewhere.
Frank's like addicted to the camera now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I saw that.
That's what it is. He needs a camera everywhere he goes.
Right. So, we have about 45 homes here?
I'm doing this off the top of my head, yes.
Okay, so where was the extended lots that we thought the extension we thought we could get
Go
here?
down here and go this way, do that way.
Now they said that they brought in a bunch of homes here, and they got them set and they got them placed, but I guess they brought in older homes.
Right.
Got some erosion happening here down this road, or what used to be a road a very long time ago. I believe in these trees somewhere years ago, there were an additional 40-something lots, which is what we're looking at now. It seems as if this home was brought in here recently. Over the last couple of years, that home probably was brought in. So the prior owner, or the owner now, owns it for a couple of years, and from what I understand, he has brought homes in. Just doesn't look like he's brought in any new homes. This is a market that, calls for new homes, or we would be able to get occupied in here. But all these homes are old. What type of homes here now? When you mix old homes and new homes, sometimes there's a bit of a challenge there. Happens with a lot of these communities is at some point in the past there was X amount of lots. But as you can see, over the years, they're not really lots anymore, right? Not every buyer is willing to come in here, clear the woods, bring the lots back to life. This is what we do.
So we're sitting somewhere right in here right now. All but one of these is a tear down. Somebody's living in this one, but the rest of them they're just using as free storage.
What we're doing here is we're going through the site and looking at the grounds. We did not have a plot map. We did not have a survey. And we were told that this was 80 lots, but 40 of those lots have not been active for over 20 years. And since that time, trees have grown and bushes have spread across the grounds. What that means is that the underground infrastructure is probably ruined, and we're gonna have to start from scratch to put in new plumbing lines and brand new pedestals to bring those sites back to life, which will add significant cost to any infill project.
All of this is part, right?
That's all part of it.
So this is all basically right here.
Right.
So I mean, these
Sometimes
lots,
you can see the road.
so these lots, you know, I mean, these septic tanks are probably all shot.
Shot. Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
They're all shot.
infrastructure's probably-
All new infrastructure we need here. Okay.
If I had to guess, at this age, you're gonna have some black pipe in here on the water lines. You're gonna have some galvanized. I don't think you'd have any copper, but you're gonna have everything else ever invented under this ground.
Need all new roads. You know, with paving these roads, I mean, you're gonna have a lot of.
You gotta stabilize it.
Yeah, they gotta.
Sand.
You got to deter the water, obviously, because the erosion on this is.
Again, I think you're looking at a root rate. Just take basically anything that's not this big around out, and just open this whole thing up.
It's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
Frank, you want to just peek in some of these homes?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I would like to peek in some of these park-owned homes, just to see what we have here. I mean, this is obviously, you know, it's a shell. This is a shell. So we have
paint on the walls.
so
You know, some new lighting.
front.
I like your
Yeah, totally throw people to
So we have there's 85 potential lots.
somewhere in that range.
80 potential lots. There's
80 or
15.
85?
80.
I'd call it 80. I
80.
think you're gonna lose
We
a
got-
few once you get back.
Yeah, 80. You got park owned, occupied 15. Park owned,
Park-owned, occupied, how many?
15. No, park owned, occupied 15. Park owned.
Those numbers are all different. That thing's over.
Yeah, you have to rehab is about 17.
So an additional 17.
No.
Park-owned, not occupied, 17.
Yes.
Okay, so there's 32 homes. Not occupied.
Things current, right?
Yeah, and 30 and 6 tenant owned homes.
6, 10 and own homes. Okay.
You want to get a sense of the type of work that you're going to have to do when you get in there. You know, typically we like to homogenize the exterior of the homes. That's a must. But if there's homes that are close to being higher grade or could be easily turned into maybe a better looking home, then those might be homes that will focus on rehabbing and getting, you know, set for market just to set a new standard.
Hello? I'm sorry, sir. Do you mind if I come in? How are you? Oh, it's you. All right. So, total, another shell bomb.
Yeah.
So, when you're looking at a community, you have to make the determination of if you're going to bring in new homes or renovate the old homes. Sometimes you can do both, but it becomes a challenge, right? To sell a brand new home to someone when, you know, the homes next to it are, you know, 60, 70, 80s
A lot of people
models.
transacting though?
I just looked at this home right here, you know, from the outside, looks like it's in decent condition, but this home would come out. To renovate this home, you'd probably be spending close to, you know, 2/3 of what it would cost to just buy a new home. Here you go, Frank.
Oh. I don't know. I like the regular units better. Well, I just think it's a different lifestyle people are looking at, right? So you're correct. This is a little quieter lifestyle for people.
When you're buying a community and you're getting a good amount of park-owned homes, you have to determine what you're gonna do with those homes, right? So the price points for that market is a big factor in that. If you're taking over a home that needs a considerable amount of work, that means you're gonna have to sell that home at a higher price point. So will that price point be the right price point for that market based on the amount of money you're putting into that home? In your due diligence, very important for you to take a look at the park-owned homes, figure out what it's gonna cost you to buy those homes, renovate those homes, and put it out there, and determine if it makes sense. This is all important information. You know, you wanna know these numbers before you buy the property. If the numbers don't make sense, you have to take a closer look at maybe what you're buying the property for. And this all has to happen in due diligence, right? And this is what you're watching us do now. So Frank, is this market calling for new homes? Is the question for me. That's the big question on my mind. Is this a new home market?
Brand new home, they would get 22, 23 years, right? And their payment with lot rent would be right around I think we looked at it like $985 a month,
About $1,000 a month.
right?
That's
So-
what I had in my head.
So they'd have to be at $985 a month and support $985 a month for the new homes. And that's with us eating the setup cost. Otherwise,
So we're paying $50,000 to $52,000 for the home. And then again, then the question becomes is how much are we gonna spend? It looks like all these poles and all these meters, everything's gotta get redone. I mean, you're gonna bring in a new home. I mean, most of these meters gotta be replaced, right? The meter will be provided, but like once a box is exposed like that, you need a new pedestal or a new electrical component before the meter box. A good price for that is probably $1,500 to $2,000. That's like a great price.
We had 17 homes and we just did the exterior, right? Our exterior cost $6,500. That'd take us to about $115. The roads in the front, I'm talking about the existing gravel, I'm not talking about the back roads. That's probably about $125, right? That's just the front. I'm not talking about around.
Frank, now you're talking about the front here
I'm talking about here, just the paved roads already. The ones that are
to
paved.
put a layer over it?
Yeah, just to clean that up. That's there. That's not the dirt.
But that's just patching.
Yeah, just patching. Hold on. That's just patching.
Patching, sealing maybe.
Yeah, that's it.
Not
Not really.
asphalt
No,
over the whole
no,
thing.
no, not just
Okay.
patching, right? Then the roads around the back, right?
An additional, correct.
Right, that would at least be 175.
Okay.
You know, so let's.
I think you're light on that price.
Okay, so 40. You have about 55 meters that you're gonna have to do.
Okay.
Right, with new ones and that, and then 40 septics at least, right? So I'm just talking about at least. That's a minimum. Look, we're just doing rough sketch. I'm just giving you a rough idea where it's gonna be, right? That's not including. That's assuming everything goes right. That's not including any additional work that you might have anywhere else.
Right.
We're walking on site and making a rough estimate of what it's going to take, what improvements we have to make to execute on our business plan. Right off the bat, we know that there's roads that have to be done, which are gonna cost at least $300,000. 55 pedestals, we're budgeting for $110,000, and the septics that have to be installed are another $250,000 before we get to new home setups, pads, or any beautification of the existing housing stock that's there already. These are a significant investment that we're gonna have to make to ensure that the numbers here work and the business plan can be executed on.
Not ducks that look like that. That duck eats fried pickles and okra. Fried okra.
I think he was a smoker.
There's dogs everywhere.
What is the main thing we're trying to figure out, Frank? Is this a new home park or not? That is the main thing. Is there a demand for an individual to want to live in Cusseta and buy a new home? A new home is a long-term commitment. This is definitely,
What's the flow of the water, right? So this is something that you're going to, and it's going to constantly.
fixing this isn't that hard.
We've never gone to a city that doesn't have a restaurant. That's what happens when you don't eat breakfast. in the
Well, I
morning,
mean, we
bro.
could have ate some.
You said I don't eat breakfast. I don't eat breakfast in the morning. Why do we have
I
breakfast?
didn't know we didn't have nothing to eat.
Bro, I told you I planned out the trip to have breakfast in the morning. That's why we were at the meeting an hour early. Just wanted to make the breakfast special at Homegrown in Georgia. I planned. I wouldn't be hungry. I would have had breakfast. I would have had breakfast. You would have eaten nothing all
still
day.
be starving.
All right? And now you're starving. Now you got to wait.
You ladies do this all the time?
All the time.
You'd still be starving.
All the time. All the time. So we just left the community development office to go over what we're going to do with the park if we buy it, and how to get the plan approved to get it to 80 lots where the numbers work. Without 80 lots, the numbers are very, very tight as it is, and without 80 lots, the deal doesn't pencil out. So
I think that a very welcoming town, but why wouldn't they be, right? Obviously, they want to better their community. I think we really need to see if these numbers make sense, right? Even at those 80 lots, is this the city that we want to be in? Do we want to put that work in here? That's a lot of work doing resale homes. Tons of work. Tons of work. I think that if the soil's good, I think the city is willing to work with us and grandfather us in, which is great. But do the numbers work in general is the question.
in every community we go in, one of the factors we look at is, do they have a local restaurant, like a local restaurant that has a little flair to it, right? And the reason being
Could
is...
be a coffee shop,
right,
could be anything.
Anything, because the reason being is that opening a restaurant is the base line of entrepreneurship of anywhere. And if you don't have anybody that says, hey, I'm going to take a shot and open a restaurant, right, and that's the baseline, because people are always going to eat. And Pete, who's our CFO, hates this deal because he's like, Frank, this deal is a drag.
Yeah, we're not making any money at that.
These two sections of 3 smaller parks, we have to basically reduce our basis down to, essentially with the $400,000 note that's on Cusseta. Then if you're putting $1 million in, then you have an 80-unit park there that's minted out, not including the homes. You have 40 homes there, right? But your total expense into that park is roughly $1.4 million. At that point, the homes you bring in are adding value. That's the only way the numbers work. That's the only way the numbers work.
Listen, Adel is, even though Adel is country,
It's right on the interstate.
this is more country.
Yes.
A lot more country. I can't remember the last town that I didn't see at least like a McDonald's or something. Like McDonald's is everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah, it's country.
That was country, as country as it gets. And they don't have a economic development. Anything.
Yeah.
Do we want to make that investment? It's a big number. Guys, we're looking at this portfolio in Cusseta. It's a 7-park portfolio. The plan was to keep the large park, which is 80 units, sell off the other 6 smaller communities, which are scattered out through the area down there. The problem was, after looking at the 80-unit park, it wasn't actually 80 units. And when we realized that, so many other variables had to hit in order for us to make this work, which is why we decided not to make it work. Frank, what were the reasons that we weren't able to make this deal work?
When we started looking at the cost of the infrastructure improvements, of bringing in new homes and the impact that might have, the reality that we would not get those additional 40 lots that were there on site based on the new zoning codes, and seeing that where the market rents are, we realized that the numbers just didn't pencil out. We would do all this work, invest all this time for very, very little return, if any at all, and it would probably take us 2 years before we made $1. At the end of the day, the best decision to make was to walk away, and that's what we did. We walked away for that deal to look for a better one.
And remember, there's no bad real estate.
Only bad prices.
Only bad prices.